Hi there. Happy holidays to you all. I hope you're feeling content and rested and supported wherever you are. It's been a few days. I was out of town visiting family that I hadn't seen in many, many years. It had been close to 20 years. So that was really, for some of them anyways. So that was really exciting. And it's one of the first times, it might be the first time, no, it's not the first time since the pandemic that I traveled, but I got sick. I got a pretty gnarly head cold, so that's what you're hearing in my voice. The head cold is actually clearing up really nicely, so I wanted to share real quickly what I've been using herb-wise. So these are herbs that I've harvested and I have in my personal apothecary, and I really highly recommend them for cold and flu season. I'm not qualified to make any type of statement on how effective they are for things like COVID, but there are known herbs for viral infections as well as helping boost the immune system, as we all know, things like echinacea and such. But what I used in combination this time around to knock out the worst of it as soon as I could was, first of all, airborne. I used that, or something like Emergency or Zicam or whatever, one of those over-the-counter immune system boosters. My personal favorite is the one I used. And then here at home, I've been using a garlic and mullein oil infused oil for my ears because the cold is in my ears, and that was brutal on the flight. My ears are still recovering. I think I must have had an ear infection because I've never had such an intense. Anyways, though, that's not of interest to you. So mullein flower and garlic infused oil, just olive oil, that I put in my ear and let sit for 15 minutes or so before I drain it. And I did that 3 times yesterday, and I'll keep doing that until my ears feel better. They're already feeling better. Mullein oil is really amazing for the ears, as is garlic for ear infections. And then my tincture that I've been ingesting is Oregon grapefruit, rosemary, and garlic tincture. It's a blend. I've been taking that yesterday and will continue taking it today. And yarrow tea, and with a little bit of mullein leaf in that as well. So with those herbal allies on board, I feel 100% better than I did yesterday. So that's pretty amazing. I mean, I can't differentiate which ones are doing what, but they're all working in tandem and they're all really helping me. Oregon grapefruit in particular, I highly recommend that you look into that as an antiviral. For your herbal apothecary, I harvested it where I live. It's also good for digestion and your stomach, but it's a really great thing to fight viral infections. And they're even investigating its use for MRSA and antibiotic resistant illnesses because it's got such amazing properties. So already, just from powering up on that tincture that I made a couple years ago, I feel a million times better. I still feel the fluid in my ears though, and whatever those tubes are that get impacted by all the pressure changes in the flight cabin. That's definitely happening. So if you don't want to get sick, don't travel by air. So anyways, I'm here to do a reading. I don't even really have an agenda set up. I just missed doing them, and I've been thoroughly enjoying doing this on YouTube. There's so much more freedom to film readings on YouTube than there are on Instagram. So I've been really enjoying it. And I think what I'll do this reading on is transition into the new year for the Roman calendar, 2024. What should you be aware of about this transition time personally, and what should we be aware of collectively as we move into the new year? I'm sending, again, I forgot to put I keep at times forgetting to put up my Free Palestine sign, but my prayer is that there's a stop to the ongoing genocidal practices in Palestine, and I stand in solidarity with the Palestinian people. And I stand in solidarity with the Jewish people as well, who were harmed in this conflict and who don't wish to keep recreating cycles of trauma. That's what we all wish for, right? We all think we have our appropriate ways of going after an end to trauma, but as what we're seeing here, it's just a perpetuation. And I'm not a leader, I'm not a government official, I'm not a spiritual teacher, nothing, but it's obvious if you're somebody committed to healing that all we're doing is re-perpetuating intergenerational trauma over and over again. This conflict is, in any warlike conflict like this, it's just, I don't know. Anyways, what can we have, what should we be aware of, and what can we expect, and what are some things that we're thinking about as we cross over into the new year in the Roman calendar? We just had a full moon too. Wow, powerful. My goodness. So far, this is a really powerful first column on this layout. Oh. Beautiful. This is really lovely. So this is looking like it's going to be a card about community and about relationships and what you're experiencing in relation to others, which isn't surprising. That's most of what makes us tick, is how we're connected to others and our relationships with other people in our community. So what the kind of cornerstone central issue for this transition into 2024 is that you've been feeling a period, you or we, I'll probably use those terms interchangeably throughout this layout. You have been feeling like you're in a time of temporary suspension where your goals and your dreams and your forward momentum for the things that you want for your life and for yourself feel like they've been probably against your will put on hold. Like you might be feeling involuntarily thwarted or wondering and confused about why the things you're trying to move forward or to achieve, especially as you go into a new year. This is a time, even if you try not to pressure yourself with things like this, it's just out there in the psyche. Everybody's talking about changes and new beginnings and all that. And so this is a little bit in conflict to that kind of message, which is there's no change happening. This is a period of stasis and non-movement for you. And it's often not a comfortable experience. But the Hanged Man is a representation of Odin, who hung himself up in this way in order to seek enlightenment to some extent. So though it's been very frustrating, there's a greater purpose behind this. And that's the kind of cornerstone of this whole energy for this layout for you. What's happening here is that, you are a manifester. The King of Wands is somebody who's in full capacity and capability to create the things that he wants for himself. He's creative fire. He represents the sacral element, the fire element, and the element, the sort of energy of creation. He's very creative. And so this is the energy that you're in. And so that's not a comfortable energy to be right next to this Hanged Man. So something bigger than you, and you're not used to being come down over on, right? Like you're used to being in power. You're used to running your life. You're used to having things go the way that you think they're going to go. You're used to getting what you want, and being faced with a Hanged Man is not a comfortable position for you. So that's what you're struggling with, because right beyond it is the Eight of Swords, which is again that feeling of I'm trapped to affect any change right now. I'm against my will. I'm like this, I could see this king feeling like locked up in a tower, right? Or locked up, he somehow being thwarted in the kind of indignation and anger that a king might feel at suddenly having his power taken away, right? Like a king isn't used to being disempowered. I'm sure in the old days of medieval or whatever, it was probably always an insecure feeling to be a ruler. If you think about things like themes like in Game of Thrones, and even in just historical accuracy, the way that people were fighting over power all the time and poisoning rulers and murdering rulers in order to usurp the throne kind of idea, right? So you feel trapped, and your will is not feeling like it's able to break through this position of you can't control anything right now. And the facts are that there's devil energy present. So we can pull some clarifiers for this, but to have the devil present, this might represent what you are feeling drawn towards because you're so aggravated and frustrated that you kind of are almost maybe in a state of like, I don't fucking care what happens. I'm going to break through this, even if I have to make a deal with the devil. It might be something like that. Or it might be that there's a devilish energy around you, external to you, that is part of the reason that you're being blocked. We don't really know, but I can pull some extras on this if we need to. Your strength is your vulnerability here is that you may be feeling a little bit left out. This Three of Cups is usually a joyful card of gatherings, of feeling trust in your community. It can represent like your close family, your close chosen community of loved ones. It can be a really positive card, but here it's in your vulnerability position. So it says to me that you're feeling on the outside of this, that you don't feel invited in. And that might also be contributing to part of your feelings of powerlessness. You might want into this new world that you've tried to create for yourself, and for some reason it's eluding you. At the heart of things, though, is an encouraging card, if not a tired card. It's the Knight of Pentacles. And so he's very consistent. So you're willing and able to continue doing the slow, steady work that you've been doing. You're at a frustrated point, but the heart of this is that you're going to keep going. You might shake your fist at the sky, you might curse God, you might get mad at life or whatever, but at the end of the day, you understand that there really is no choice to keep going. This card in this position in this layout right here, I suddenly just got this really strong feeling that you've been through so much in your life that you already have learned over and over and over again, because of the dark nights that you've been through of the soul and of experience and maybe of trauma. You have a really deep understanding that your power is in continuing to move forward, even if you don't understand, even if you feel knocked back, even if you feel conflicted, even if you feel torn, even if you feel blind, even if you feel victimized by circumstance or by traumatic experiences that you had no control over. You have the recognition to keep going, that you have to wake up to face another day. It may not always be joyful, but you know from an empowered place what you're capable of because of what you've already been through. So it's not necessarily a joyful feeling that I'm picking up out of this, but it is an empowered feeling because it's a feeling that says, I know I can get through this. You may be frustrated, you may be battle fatigued and aggravated that you're trapped and maybe vulnerable to indulging some of your darker impulses because of that frustration. But at the end of the day, you can lay your head down at night knowing that you're continuing to do the hard work and the work that's going to benefit you long term, and that's productive work. The Knight of Pentacles is very reliable. He's very determined. He's very methodical. He's not a fast mover. And that came through really strongly here, that you have been through enough in your life to know that you're going to get through this. It's just a very frustrating time for you. And I sense that the hope for you is that 2024 is going to bring a breakthrough. That's kind of what I'm feeling, that maybe you're not going to have to be trudging through quite as hard as this Knight of Pentacles has had to. I just noticed he has this cute little, it looks like a little Shetland pony or something here. It's really sweet. Your strength is that, you have the will and the effortlessness, the effortless method of approaching your life, which is living from your heart. The Ace of Cups is the most beautiful, heart-centered, purely unconditionally loving card in the deck. It's the purest form of love. Like, it could be considered like the love of a parent and a child, the love of God for creation, the love of the gods for creation, right? Like it's higher love, and that's your strength, is that's what's keeping you going as this Knight of Pentacles, that even though you feel blocked and your creation fire may be feeling blocked, you are continuing to move through your changes from a heart-based place, which is really lovely. And I just noticed here that we have 2 aces in this reading, so that's a really big deal. The Ace of Cups and the Ace of Swords. So in spite of this frustration and feeling blocked and a little bit drawn towards maybe like, you know, screw it, I'm just going to get fucked up. What else does it matter? Who, you know, I'm going to do what I want. So does everyone else. Why not me? You know, there might be thinking like that. But with this Ace of Cups and this Ace of Swords, you have the clarity you need and the ethics that you need to move forward and create the things that you want. Even though you're in this temporary feeling of frustration, there's a greater part of you that understands, even if you don't know why, that this is by design, that there's some greater lesson in it for you. So advice from your devil is to get down. The devil on your shoulder is really a lot of anxieties within you that are afraid of being left out. And this is echoed in this 3 of Pentacles and your vulnerability, or 3 of Cups and your vulnerability. You're worried that the world maybe is going to pass you by, and the devil on your shoulder is kind of whispering those negative thoughts to you. That's what the facts are, that these are not accurate thoughts. These are thoughts that plague those of, you know, most people when we're feeling vulnerable in life, when we're feeling blocked, when we're wondering like, God, is everything I've been working for really, am I just going to fail at the end of the day? Like, it's truly, there's a feeling here of moving forward in the dark. The Knight of Pentacles is willing to keep going even though he can't see where he's going, right? And that's a scary feeling sometimes. And I sense that your devil is creating a lot of doubts in you at points, like that maybe you're on the wrong path, or that you made a wrong turn, or that you're going to be left out, or that no community is going to be there for you when you come out of the hard time that you're in. That's the anxiety. But your angel on your shoulder is saying, you know in the deeper parts of you that that's not accurate. The devil voice is powerful, though. It's a loud voice that has you doubting at times that you're going to get left behind. Your angel is saying, stay true to the clarity of vision that you've had until this point. Even though you're feeling thwarted, even though you're feeling like the stuff you've been trying to create is blocked for reasons you don't understand, your angel's saying it's accurate to that your hunch that you're going through this for a reason, or that there's a greater purpose involved, that your joy is coming. That is what you need to attend to as much as possible. The Ace of Swords is a really powerful card compared to the 5 of Pentacles. So your angel side of you is really trying to help you maintain the clarity of your heart and your vision. And where the energy is headed is the 9 of Cups, which indicates to me that this period of stuckness is about to break through into joy. So I'm going to pull some clarifiers on this 9 of Cups. What's important for you to know about the 9 of Cups as we go into the new year? That's a really positive card after a time of feeling kind of stuck. And though you have a deeper awareness that there's something bigger happening and that it's been good for you, this non-movement, like maybe it's been a time that you've needed to grieve and heal, and that's not comfortable for you. You might have been tempted to run from your pain a lot, either by staying too busy or distracting yourself with distractions, or not wanting to touch down into these fears that you're having. You keep trying to just kind of skim the surface, maybe. What about this 9 of Cups? I keep getting that feeling like, slow down. That might be why this is blocking you somewhat, is because it's asking you just rest. Don't resist. Slow down. It's not time. It's all coming. But you don't need to be racing around in your life. That's coming through really loudly. Like, you don't have to be trying to force anything. You're not going to get left behind. You're not going to miss out. It's almost like FOMO. There's FOMO coming through here. Fear of missing out, fear of being left behind, fear of being abandoned. Even though through all your efforts you're trying to keep going, you have a lot of doubts, and they're very minimal compared to what you know on a deeper level. But they're hard. They're plaguing you, these doubts, a little bit. But you don't have to run and hide and stay distracted and busy. Like, busyness is sort of the curse of Western society, being so busy socially, so busy with classes, so busy with work, so busy with, people don't like to slow down. Because a lot of times, if you're not comfortable with your inner experience, staying busy and distracted is a way of not having to go there, right? I keep feeling that really clearly, that this time of blocks might have been to force you to go in. I don't see the Hermit here, but the Hangman is a similar energy in a way. It's just maybe a little bit less voluntary, right? What about this Nine of Cups? That's interesting. It got clarified by some negative cards. There's a relationship here that might be fatiguing you. You may be this Queen of Pentacles and you're a little bit battle weary from a conflict. I wonder why that came out clarifying the Nine of Cups. Like, that could be the Nine of Cups with the Devil here might be that you're in conflict with your relationship with escapism. Can we clarify that again? What's the conflict around the Nine of Cups here? Why conflict energy? We've got the Nine of Wands, which is an embattled figure, the Five of Swords, which is a battle, and then the Queen of Pentacles. Have you been indulging too much? I think that might be what it is. The Nine of Cups here might be that you're in danger of indulging too much self-indulgence. That's the facts corner here. This card is the facts position, and it's the Devil card. So I think this is becoming clear that in an effort to avoid these feelings of being left out and being abandoned by your community, you're vulnerable to indulging too much in escapism. What's this warning and conflict around the Nine of Cups here? Again, I'm asking the same question. It's not surprise. Oh, man. Yep. There's sorrow for you about a relationship. So I clarified again the Nine of Cups. First, there was a conflict. You feel embattled in a conflict. Either you're the queen or you're in a conflict with the Queen of Pentacles. And then I clarified it again, and it's the Three of Swords, the Empress, and the Hierophant. So the Empress is an echo of the Queen of Pentacles. They're very similar energies. There's a lot of sorrow around this relationship. Are you the Empress, or who is the Empress and the Queen of Pentacles? Is that you? Or is that somebody that you're struggling with? It looks to me like maybe the loss of a relationship, or you're saying, because the Hierophant here can indicate a commitment and a sorrow around a commitment. If you're the Knight here, which you are, I think this Queen is the person you're in conflict with, or in conflict over. You might not be in conflict with her, but you're upset about her. Yeah. The ultimate message here is that don't get lost in the desire to overindulge over your sadness around this circumstance. It's very temporary, because I just pulled again. There's a betrayal here, or a conflict in a relationship for you, and it's with this feminine energy. There might be two feminine energies here. I don't see cards about decisions or choices, but there are definitely, it's a powerful reading for you, because there's two aces. And there's definitely a conflict here for you about a relationship that's bringing you a lot of sorrow. there might be an end to a commitment because there might have been an affair or some infidelity, because we have the Seven of Swords here and the Five of Cups. Some real disappointment and possibly a feeling of betrayal, like maybe there was some infidelity here in this relationship. But the ultimate clarifier for this is the Star, so it's important not to lose hope. This is temporary. I'm sorry though, this looks like it's been a difficult place to be. And my sense is that you're hoping that 2024 is going to turn over into a new leaf for you. What was this conflict about? What are the words for you about this conflict? What is your message from your heart about this conflict? This is going to help you know more about... You probably already know if this is for you, if it's resonating. What are your words about this relationship? My life is not as together as it seems. We need to let each other go. I left you before you could leave me. So there's a lot of insecurity and worry and sorrow around this relationship for sure. I'm sorry, this is where I want to try to get you some... What's important for you to understand about this? One of the really important messages is be careful about, people do all kinds of things to soothe their wounds. And it's not wrong to go out with your girlfriends for drinks, right? Like that's one example of just healthy coping, but you gotta really, it's such a fine line, like with substances and vices. It's just really gotta be careful. This is a big warning here for you to be careful and not let your sorrow about this conflict or this relationship get the best of you because you feel blocked right now. The temptation might be to be like, fuck it, nothing's working. I'm going to indulge whatever your vices are, right? Even though you've been trying not to. And I see that there's a big warning here. And the focus is maintain your clarity and continue to have hope. Continue to operate from your heart. That's not a weakness, it's a strength. I feel you beating yourself up here about the sorrow. Like you don't want to feel this sorrow anymore. That might be also some of the frustration and why you're trying to just be tempted to escape. What's important for you to understand about this conflict? What is important for you to understand about this conflict? And also, what is to comfort you? What can comfort you about this? Messages about this conflict, please. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. First card is the Fates. I think this has to do with this Hanged Man, that you know something bigger is at work. But let's see. It might be hard to maintain that perspective, though. I definitely struggle with that. When I'm going through hard times, I don't have a lot of patience for it anymore because I've had a lot of hard times in my life, and I start really feeling entitled, like, God damn, when is my ship going to come in? Like, I'm tired of healing trauma. I'm tired of being strong. I'm tired of knowing that it's like, yeah, that's empowering. I feel empowered as fuck because I've lived through a lot of really intense things, and I know I can do it now. And I know I've been through all that. I can get through anything. And that's a good way to feel. But at some point, I'm tired of it too. It's like I want to be out of that mode and into just enjoying some things for a change. I'm tired of the survival mode. I'm ready to get into joy again. So around this conflict, other people are who they are. You can't change them. The challenge is to accept them as they are and not try to make them otherwise to suit you. This is a time to look at how you attempt to mold people to fit your view of how they should be so that you can remain in the relationship and avoid discomfort. What if who they are and whatever is happening between you and them in this situation is perfect from the perspective of spirit? This Hanged Man, you know that on some level, but I think you're having trouble maintaining that awareness. Now is the time to accept what you cannot change, even if it means that you honor yourself, spirit, and the other person by moving on. Love unconditionally, that Ace of Cups. For each of us is on our own journey, and we cannot direct that of another. Be aware that this relationship is indeed fated, and you are meant to evolve into a better version of yourself as a result of it. So I hope that's helpful to know, that there is a greater purpose behind this situation that feels stuck and that feels kind of frustrating for you. Like you really are wanting to break out of it. There's lessons in this for you. And then round and round. Are you refusing to see your own personal responsibility for repeating lessons you don't need to relearn? You have to surrender now to the fact that you are the common denominator in all of these repeat performances. Be happy, for this is a wonderful spot to be in. You can now see the cycles that you wish to exit. Once you figure out that you have the power to stop going around and around, you possess the key to your freedom. The key to your freedom. This king, you're in masculine energy. This king feeling trapped by this Hanged Man energy and by this Eight of Swords. It's the key to your freedom. You can unlock the tower, right, for you, is recognizing your role in this relationship type conflict. I have a sense that be good to yourself. It's not about blame, but accountability. You can have the abundant life filled with love and prosperity that Spirit so wants for you. You're not going to be left out. Even if this relationship ends, it doesn't mean that there isn't something for you. The Star, even though there's this sorrow and this betrayal and you feel kind of embattled over this relationship, the Star card is here to let you know, like, don't throw it all away. You're doing it. You just are going to have to take some hard looks at reality and don't succumb to the desire for escapism right now. And then fork in the road. Indecision is extremely frustrating and will lead to anxiety, loss, and confusion. At this juncture, you can't remain in place without losing your way altogether. Avoid the tendency to let others choose for you, which amounts to a subtle refusal to take responsibility. Don't give your power away, not even to this oracle. By not making a choice, you are making a choice for which you must be accountable. If that choice leads to undesirable circumstances, take heart. Spirit never tires of giving you second chances. You can always start again once you've learned this valuable lesson. So starting again, choices, crossroads, what's important for you to understand about this relationship? Seems like you're needing to make a choice about a relationship that's maybe past its due, but that you've been reluctant to make. That's kind of what I'm feeling here. And instead of making the choice, you're escaping to avoid having to make the choice. That's kind of what I'm seeing here. And there's a lot of sadness and sorrow and anxiety about making the choice, like it just said. So you're feeling kind of paralyzed almost in your head and embattled and in conflict about it. What else is important to understand about this relationship? I hope this is helpful to whoever so far. I might go ahead and try to do another layout to see if I can't help someone know if this is for them or not. You can trust this. Profound love and respect is the driving force. And what universal story or myth is manifest here? So it's something about breaking a pattern. I don't know what kind of pattern. So I'm going to try now to do a Lenormand layout here to see, or actually I'm going to do, I think, probably a Kipper Grand Tableau. And we'll get some detail about this situation, because it sounds to me like it's really besting you almost, or you feel completely overwhelmed by it and not sure what to do. And there's even a little bit of conflicting messages in this layout about whether you should take action or whether you should watch and wait. I feel your confusion, honestly. It sounds overwhelming, and I understand why you're feeling the impulse to escape through just, I just want to go party or travel or do something to forget it all. And there isn't anything necessarily wrong with that. There was just a big warning there that you don't stay there too long, or that you don't escape to the point that you are not dealing with what you're meant to be dealing with by this period of slowdown or stuckness. So what is this about? What is that relationship about? And the main figure of this layout is going to be the main male, because that was a masculine energy that came through. So I know people say this all the time in readings, but it's not about how you identify in your gender. It's about the energy within you, whether it's active or receptive, and so forth. Those are energy polarities, masculine and feminine. Just like if you think of like a battery, right? Those kinds of energetic levels of experience. What is the relationship? What happened, and why is it tearing you up? Why are you conflicted? It has something to do with making a decision, and you're feeling kind of paralyzed with indecision. That was that Tower. You're wanting to create a certain kind of life for yourself, but that Hanged Man and Eight of Swords energy really had you feeling blocked, and it was really getting you in. You're wanting to just do everything you can to forget about it rather than deal anymore. What is the relationship? What is the conflict? What happened? What's the reality? What are the brass tacks of this situation? This takes a minute to lay out. Just give me some time here to do this layout. I have to move this. So interesting how this is laying out. I'm fascinated by this. Okay. So, right here you are, main male. This is you, King of Wands and Knight of Pentacles. And for sure, okay. You've been thinking about this meeting or this coming together. And you're wanting a new start. You may have just been through some kind of an official process or a court battle. You're really wanting a new start. You've got a lot of worries, though, that coming together with this person, any possibility of that is going to be not possible for some reason. There's a lot of confusion on your part, which was reflected in the first reading. We talked about that, really having worries and doubts and in kind of devil energy a little bit. And somewhat based on, I do think there's a little bit of betrayal that might have happened, that's got you confused. There's a lot of sorrow for you about the relationship, as came out in the first one. There was some denial about the relationship itself, that you thought it was going to be everything you dreamed, and the fact is that it wasn't. And it's been a sorrowful experience for you. I don't know why. But you're over here, you're thinking about the new start. That's what and that's reflected in your thoughts and here in these positions. It's very heavily on your mind, this new start. But going forward still, in the present, you feel very, very blocked. This prison has you cornered at this far edge of this reading. You feel very alienated or isolated or blocked from whatever you are wanting. You're feeling very imprisoned. And there's kind of the female that you're thinking of, her sad thoughts are also being played out here. So both of you are having a hard time with sorrow about the relationship. There's kind of a triangle here. I didn't really pick that up in the first layout, although that was reflected with that Three of Cups energy. Because over here, the woman that you're, or the feminine energy that you are thinking of, or that's really got you in your feelings, is also in her feelings. She's worried about another woman here. She thought there was going to be a lot of joy and change between you and a new start together. And now she's worried about another woman. And in her mind is that something, she's been kind of like, she's worried that this opportunity has been stolen from her too. You're really mirroring each other. And that's also reflected here in the way that this has chosen to lay out for the two of you. She's at this very end of this row, and you are at the next, you're the next card in the next row. So it's almost like you're on a different timeline, but you're really turned towards each other and you're trying to connect. This, you and this main female, you feel sort of blocked from your hope right now. It has something to do with being official or being legitimized. But this feminine energy that's really on your mind, her thoughts are really in play here as well. Both of your thoughts are very much in play. You're both thinking of one another. You're both worried about the future of the relationship. There's another energy here, but you seem to also be slightly worried about another man, because this could also be a different man to you, like another older, like an advisor or a confidant at work. Let's see, what is this row here? Because this is where things are going. This woman in your life is hoping for a change and a new start with you after a long road. That's where her mind is. But she's pretty, it's like she's given up because she feels there's another person involved. That's what this is showing. And so she loves you. She's facing you. You're facing each other, but you're just on the way that I wish I could, yeah, you can see it here. So it's cool how it laid out like that. She already kind of let go and has given up and felt like something thwarted us, or we're not going to be together. There was another party involved. That's where her thoughts are. She's let go of hope, but she's still really in her head about it too. You're both really mirroring one another, like I said. There might also be other people involved here, like other opinions, other parties that are interfering. Talk, work. Yeah, very interesting. So I hope that's helpful to you and helping you know if this is for you. I'll pull another, I guess. What's some advice for you, masculine energy, about this? The advice from the first layout was not to succumb to too much temptation to just do whatever to escape the difficult time, this sad thoughts of the divine feminine or the feminine energy that you're thinking about. You're both preoccupied with whether the other person's with someone else. Like, she's worried if you're with someone else, you're worried if she's with someone else. It's funny, well, I mean, I decided to do a Kipper layout, which gets really specific for someone, so it's not a super general reading anymore. This has now turned into a pretty specific reading for someone's circumstance. You're both mirroring each other. It's advice for you. Accept, embrace, and love your heartbreak, love your pain. So yeah, you can't be running away from it. You need to face everything here. It might be the sadness of this other relationship, the sadness of worrying that things are not going to be. You can't skip that. You're going to have to feel it and go through it. And it's really present here. This grief and sorrow around the relationship is very present. You may have lost hope at some point, that official things are in the way, or work is in the way, or it's just too much stacked against you, maybe with legal problems and whatnot. The reality, though, for this relationship is that there's going to be a shocking communication, is what I'm seeing here, whether from you or from the other person. Medicine of laughter. So in the meantime, try to lighten up and have some fun. Enjoy your life while this is all unfolding, I guess, as much as you can. Mother and child. I don't know if that's a message about that. I asked about advice for you. So there's something about mother and child advice here. Can you clarify that? Mother and child. These two cards here can also be, so you might be, there's a child involved maybe, which is partly why this decision about these relationships have been difficult, because of a child being involved. What's your advice? Try to find some laughter in things. Laughter through the tears. Embrace the sorrow. What's your advice here? The card is chaos and conflict. Being at cross purposes with another, the tension of opposites, the value of chaos before order. That's nice. Opposing forces come together to create a turbulent atmosphere, but consider the value of chaos that serves you well as you become unmoored by it. Scattered to the winds, you leave behind the parts of yourself you no longer need and disperse seeds to reinvent yourself anew. So those seeds are the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Cups from the first layout. That this transition time is asking you to go deep within. And if you try to escape it or skip it or don't do that work, it's not going to be to your advantage. You really need to embrace the negative side of making this transition. Although the conflict appears to exist externally, its essence is also internal, projected outward and causing disarray. You may find yourself at cross purposes with someone else, facing a storm you feel you can't control. Yet every storm passes and chaos leads to a reordering of things. Conflict provides a way to see more than one side of a situation. Look upon this as just a moment in time when you may need to take shelter and step away from the fray. Don't be too eager to fight. This is a time to understand rather than to be understood. Stubbornness is keeping you in a state of opposition. The incessant need to be right will only serve to prolong the conflict that deep down you want to be resolved. Wow, this is a great clarifying message for these layouts. I really like this reading. It's all coming together. This is an opportune moment to learn about your values, your sense of self, what's really important to you. Some things are non-negotiable. If that's true, it's not necessary to fight. Can you find a way through the stormy emotions to higher ground? Soon the air will clear and you will be in a much better place than before, for the storm will have passed, blazing a path for new growth in its wake, that King of Wands that right now feels stuck. Things can become electric and enlightened, always better than before if you use this time constructively. Boom, that is a perfect ending. I don't even need to pull any more cards. That's the overarching message, and the biggest takeaway is try to stay above it, find medicine of laughter where you can, and otherwise do not try to skip the grief and the negative side of this experience, what it wants to teach you. Just embrace it. So I hope that's helpful to you, and Happy New Year, and I'll see you soon.